Yeah. So in last session we understand what is the memory and how memory is consumed by applications, how memory is consumed by applications, and in what sizes we measure them. We understand. Okay, the sizes to measure your memory is byte is very small, kilobyte is a little bit, which means 1024 times then bigger than the byte, and megabyte is 1024 times bigger than the kilobyte. 1 GB is bigger than megabyte. 1024 times megabyte. 1 TB is equal to 1024 times of gigabyte. Hardly, my machine is having 1 TB of memory, and the RAM is 16 MB RAM I have. Okay, 16 MB RAM I have. So within that 16 MB RAM or 1 TB of memory, I need to keep my data and applications. I need to keep my data and applications. If it is going to exceed more than 60 GB, 16 GB of RAM, my machine will hang and it will not run. It will go out of memory. Now, yeah, now let's jump into Java side. In Java, how better we can write the code and which data types we need to use for that, which data types we need to use for that purpose. Okay, let me show you data types in Java. 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 Let me show you data types in the Java. Let me show you data types in Java. Okay. So in Java, there are many data types. There are many data types. Okay. There are many data types. So we divided data types into two types in Java. Two types. One is primitive type. The other one is wrapper type. The primitive type and wrapper type. Okay, we'll talk about this wrapper types later. Okay, let's understand primitive types. These are the important data types. Okay, primitive types are the important data types. Why data types are important? For any programming language apart from Java, right? If you see any other programming language, they also will have data types. What is the need of data types? Let's understand it. Okay, data types are important in any programming because they help ensure that the right kind of data is storing in variables. The right kind of data is storing in variables. What is right kind of data? What is right kind of data? Let's say let's say you have a name. The name will have alphabets using abcd characters. We put our names. God, Ram, having characters ram. Instead of ram, does the name is 123? No. Okay, Krishna is having name krishna. Krishna, it's a character. There we didn't use 1 2 3 numbers. Why? And when you try to purchase a item, a pen from the shop, you need to pay in rupees, 10 rupees, 20 rupees, right? In numbers you need to pay. Why that is in numbers? Can't we pay it in characters? Imagine if you go to shop and if you give a character, if you give a character 10 in note, if you mention ten and if you give, if that is in characters, that is not valid in the calculations. Because once you purchase a pen, if it is 10 rupees and if you used 100 rupees to purchase it, again he need to give the change. Some calculations need to be happen. Calculations we perform on numbers. Calculations we perform on numbers, and for names we use simple characters. So everywhere in real world data type is mandatory. In real world data type is mandatory. Even in your programming also data type is mandatory. So that's how we can able to store right kind of data, right? When we accept some data from user, right? Let's say you implemented a calculator and somebody asks you to calculate a plus b. We can't calculate it, but if somebody asks you to calculate 10 plus 20, we can calculate it. So while entering a plus b, calculator will not accept it. What is the reason? If I open a calculator here, I'm trying to enter a, b, c, d from my keyboard. Why it is not accepting? But if I try to enter 1, it is accepting. See, I press 1, it is accepting. If I press 2, it is accepting. Then sum, it is giving 3. Why? Because 1 to through numbers only valid numbers for the calculator. When you implement the application, valid data only you should accept. So the right kind of data your application need to accept it. Where we store that data? Inside variables, which it helps you to prevent errors and unexpected behaviors. Obviously, if you give a plus b and c plus d, something like that in calculator will not perform anything. Instead, it will give you errors. In real world, that is not possible. So that's why we need data types here. That's why we need data types. Not only to perform write operations, not only to perform write operations, and it will utilize some memory also in your machine. It will utilize some memory also in your machine. Let's understand that. Let's understand that. There is a Boolean data type. There is a Boolean data type in Java. It will consume one bit of memory. One bit of memory, because it will store in 0 or 1. 0 or 1, we understand 0 or 1 is for bit, 0 or 1 is for bit. From here we understand in 0 or 1 size what we can store using 0. 0 means false, 1 means true. One bit of memory is sufficient for true or false or yes or no, you may say. Okay, we can utilize Boolean memory. For Boolean, one bit of memory is sufficient. If it is a character, we can store ABCD kind of characters. In Java, it will consume 16 bits of memory. A character will consume 16 bits of memory, which means 2 bytes of memory. 2 bytes of memory. Let's understand. Let's understand. So, what I said, 1 byte can hold alphabets or 1 to 3s. 8 bits are sufficient, but why Java is consuming 16 bits? I'll tell you that story. Okay. Not only English characters, we call English characters as ASCII characters. ASCII, American Standard for Communication, Information Interchange, ASCII. So for ASCII 8 bits are sufficient. But other languages, if you see nowadays, Chinese using their own language, Japanese using their own language, and our native language also like Hindi, Telugu, Tamil, Kannada, Malayalam. Our native language is also being using in our applications. So for that native languages, ASCII 8-bit size is not sufficient. So we'll use unique code characters. Unique code characters will consume 16 bits of memory. 16 bits of memory. 16 bits of memory. As Java supports you, Java here supporting you to store unique code characters. Java supports you to store unique code characters. That's the reason it is consuming 16 bits of memory. Okay, fine. I can store characters in that. What about this byte, short, int, long, float, double? Let me explain. Byte is for numbers. I want to calculate. I want to do calculations, or I want to enter some age of a person. Okay. So age of a person is not a single character. Not a single character or single number. It is having to, it is going to hold 1 to 127 or 128 up to minus 128 to plus 127 we can use in the byte will consume 8 bits of memory. 8 bits of memory. In that 8 bits of memory we can fit minus 128 to plus 127 number. That is ASCII limit. Okay, that is ASCII limit. As per ASCII table, okay, as per ASCII table, you can hold a number between minus 128 to plus 127. Okay, so for that 1 byte of memory is enough. Let's say you are writing a code. Okay, here is your code. So okay, here is your code. So you have code here is your code, Java code. Okay, here is your Java code. I want to store age of a person. How much size is required for age? Are we expecting 150 years or 200 years for a person? No, maximum 100 years or 110 years or maybe 120 years. So up to 127 byte is sufficient. So in case age kind of variables if you have, you can use byte data type. That is sufficient. And if it is exceeds more than byte, then you can go with the short. Okay, you can go with short. If it is more than short, you can go with integer. If it is more than integer, you can go with long. If it is more than long, nothing else. Long is the maximum limit we have. Okay, it's a 64-bit size. Okay, as of now computers or mobiles will accept up to long size. It is very big size. It is very big size. In real world it is very big size. At now nobody used that much size. It is big in size. That is sufficient for current world. We will see after 20 years or 30 years or after 100 years if long also exceeds. Okay, if Bill Gates earn more than long size, maybe we need to see, but long is very big in size. That is sufficient. That is sufficient. Nothing is going to exceed more than long. So for numbers we can use byte short into long. If there are floating point numbers, I'll explain you what are the normal numbers, what are the floating point numbers. If there are decimal values that you need to store in calculations, right? If I do something Indian rupee to dollar conversion or dollar to Indian rupees conversion, $1 is equal to, I think, something 83.5, something a decimal point numbers we will get. Where I can hold them byte short into long or not good for such, you know, calculations. We need to use float. And if you have more scientific decimals, if you have more than 5 decimals or 6 decimal values, we will go with the double. We will go with the double. Apart from that, when there is nothing, we will use void. But as of now, you need not to consider it as a data type. Okay. So now let's see more in depth about it. Okay. Data types are two types, as I said, right? Primitive types and non-primitive types. Primitive types are boolean, character, byte, short, int, long, float, double. And non-primitive types are in Java we have string, class, interface, arrays. We'll talk about them later. Okay. As of now we are talking about primitive data types only. Primitive data types only. Okay. So in primitive data types we understand that Boolean is one data type, and Boolean will hold 1 or 0, true or false only. And for numeric, for numbers, right, we have multiple data types again. Okay. So under numeric only, character also will fall in. Character also will fall in. Maybe you may confuse how a become a number. How a become a number. Okay. Internally a will be considered as 65. A is considered as 65. If you take small a, it is considered as 97. So again internally it will convert them into number only. So that's why it is considered under, character is considered under numeric only. Okay, don't confuse about it. Okay. And apart from that, right, for numbers divided into two types: integer numbers, floating point numbers. Integer numbers data types are byte to short to into long. As I said, right, small in size, byte is small in size, bigger than the byte is short. 1 byte, here byte will consume 1 byte. Okay, short will consume 2 bytes of memory. Short will consume 2 bytes of memory. Int will consume 4 bytes of memory. Okay, you see it is doubling. 1 become 2, 2 become 4, and long you can expect 4 bytes of memory. It will consume 4 bytes of memory. What about float? Float will consume 2 bytes of memory. Is it? No, 4 bytes of memory. And double is consuming 8 bytes of memory. Double is consuming 8 bytes of memory. So in your coding, while you are writing, right, while you are writing, let's say I started a code, I started a Java code here, I started a Java code here. Here I used one byte variable age equal to something, and one int variable int a equal to something, and I used one short variable, one int variable, and one long variable. So if you see here, four data types I have used, and let me include float also. Float f equal to something 56.5, and double d equal to some. Float will have float extension, long will have long extension. Okay, double 568 point something, a number I have. Okay, consider an example. Your code is having one byte, one short, one into, one long, one float, one double. And let me include boolean also. One boolean b equal to true or false. True or false. In boolean we can hold only true or false. And one character also let me include. Okay, why we should miss character? Character something z is equal to, okay, a character I'm storing. Now if it is your code, if you try to run it on your computer, if it is your code, if you try to run it on your computer which is having 8 GB of RAM, 8 GB of RAM. Okay, let's calculate it, how much memory it will consume. So I'm trying to run this code on my computer. This computer is having 8 GB of memory, 8 GB of memory, 8 GB of memory. This computer is having 8 GB of memory. When I run it, how much memory it will consume out of 8 GB? We can calculate. So we are using one byte variable, one short, one int, one long. Okay. So how I can calculate one byte? Short is 2 bytes. Okay. 1 plus 2, 3. 3 plus 4, 7. 7 plus 8, 15. 15 plus 4, 19. 19 plus 8, 27. So up to here, until double 27 bytes it consumed. And again for boolean, consider 1 byte. Okay, very small in size. 27 plus 128 character is consuming 2 bytes. 28 plus 2, 30. So overall 30 bytes of memory only it will consume. Overall 30 bytes of memory only it will consume. Apart from this, to store your code, and as I said, right, not only keywords, we are using identifiers also. Byte, age, C, one more character here, A character. We are using identifiers also now along with keywords. So for this identifiers also maybe some more 10 bytes of memory, maybe extra it will consume. Altogether maybe 30 bytes plus 10 bytes, 30 bytes plus 10 bytes of memory, overall 40 bytes of memory. Overall 40 bytes of memory it may consume. That's it. Within 40 bytes you have written your code. This is how you need to understand. This is how you need to understand memory management. This is how you need to understand memory management. Yeah, apart from that, data types are controlling what kind of data we can input. Inside byte, we can give up to maximum 127 number only. You can't give characters. Even same thing for short, integer, long, float, doubles also. Okay, I'll show you that real numbers. I'll show you that real numbers through the code. Okay, let me show you the code. Let me show you the code. Okay. So I'm showing you example. I'm showing you example how we are using them. Okay, one by one I'll show you. First integers example I'll show you. Next to floating numbers I'll show you. Then character and boolean also I'll show you. Okay, one by one, one by one. Try to understand one by one. Okay. So I'm using Eclipse. Okay, I'm using Eclipse. As I said, right, there are two ways to code. One is in Notepad, one is in IDE. Okay, so IDE will helps you a lot to write the code. I'll show you how to install and how to use IDE also. But let's understand first this integer data types example. Okay, so I have written a code here. Public class. This is class name, integer data types example. You can use any class name. Okay. Now class block started from here, from line number 4 to line number 28 is my class block. So in that class I have written one main method, public static void main important method. So from this method only our code starts executes. Okay. Now let's understand. For short number, for very small numbers, for very non-decimal means precisions if you don't have. Precisions if you don't have. Okay. So like 128 minus 128 to 127 numbers like age. You can use byte. Byte a is equal to 100. Byte a is equal to 100. Now if I run, it will print here. System.out.println will print as it is whatever I have here. Age is equal to. And again in next line system.out.println I'm printing this variable, whatever variable name I have here, right? Same I substituted here. What it will do, whatever you have, right? Whatever you have 100 value, that 100 value it will print here. Okay. So now if it is exceeds more than byte range, if it is not age, if it is some kind of a salary, let's say salary, basic salary. Okay, so salary is between, let's say 32,000. If it is exceeds more than 32,000, maybe you can go with the integer range. Let's say if salary is between 10,000 to 30,000, you can use short data type. Short can hold -3 to 7682 plus 3 to 767. Up to this range you can store. Okay, so the maximum number I am putting here. So now here I am printing salary is equal to this salary. If it is exceeds more than that, okay, India population 140 crores. Short is not able to hold that number. Okay, short is storing up to 32,000. Maybe a city population, a small city population. Okay, India population if I want to store, short is not sufficient. So bigger than short is integer. Bigger than short is integer. It can hold this big number. Okay, how much big number it is? Okay, 100 crores up to 200 crores it can hold. Maybe not now. After 20 years, maybe India population may reach to 200 crores. For now 140 crores. It is going to sufficient in integer. If after 100 years, if it is exceeds more than 200 crores, 214 crores, 214 crores, 74 lakh 83,648, if it is exceeds more than that, maybe after 100 years, maybe integer also not sufficient to hold the population. Maybe we need to go with long. It's okay. So now India population, I'm printing here 140 crores. If it is bigger than this, like I want to calculate distance between sun and earth. So it is like 1500 crores miles, 1500 crores kilometers. So I want to convert into meters. Okay, I want to convert into meters. So it is a big number again. So to hold up to this much big number, you see, I can't able to read it. It's a very, 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 very big number. Okay, so this much big number, up to this much big number, you can hold it into long. But while storing long values, right, at the end you need to put L. This is not 1, carefully observe it. This is not L, this is not 1, this is L. This is L. Okay, 1 and L difference you can see. 1 is small in size, L is little bigger than that. Okay, observe it. Okay, last you need to put L. Okay, yeah. So I have used properly 4 data types: 1 byte, 1 short, 1 int, and 1 long. Now I'm running my code. Just right click, run Java application. Run as Java application. Yeah. Now it is printed. Age is equal to 100. Salary is equal to 32,767. India population 140 crores. Distance to sun. Okay. So this is in kilometers. 1500 crores kilometers between earth and sun. Maybe we are not going there, but that is the distance. Okay, so this is the integer data type example. Okay, so easily you can hold numbers there. What we can do with them? Maybe you can perform some calculations. Let's say if you want to minus some 10 years, minus 10 years, maybe you can apply minus symbol and apply 10. So easily you can perform calculations. So easily you can perform mathematical calculations. I did a change. Now you can see age become 90 because I applied some minus operation here. Now salary, I want to increment it 2 times. I can apply into 2 into 2. So 32676 into 2. If I do multiplication, this is going to multiply. This is going to multiply, and salary becomes 65534. So where it will store? Now it is not going to store in short. Internal it is going to store it in int only. Store results in int. Okay, don't confuse because it became big number after calculation. That's why it will store it in integer. Clear, right? Yeah. So this is how we can apply plus, so minus, so into, divided by, all mathematical calculations we can perform. That we will see it in a next session. Okay, now let's see one more example which is related to float. Okay, float data types. We understand integer data types are for normal numbers which are not having precisions. See the numbers. Okay, age, we will say, what we will say, what is your age? When we ask 25.5, 25.6, we will say, or else rough number we will say. We will say 25 years, 26 years, 30 years, like that, right? But when you do calculations, let's say dollar to rupee calculation, if you want to do, actual value is 83.15. Okay, I added few more decimals. Okay, so $1 is equal to this much. If you go to a conversion and if they give 83 rupees, will you accept for $1? No, you will calculate this precision also. So precisions are very important in calculations, right? Basically in money calculations or in gold calculations, we use all minute precisions also. In scientific calculations, very, very minute. In healthcare, robotics also will calculate minute precisions. So while doing that minute level precision calculations, we should go with the not integer numbers. We should go with float data types. Okay, so bigger than this length, right? Right hand side precisions, bigger than this length. If you see, maybe you need to go with the double. Double can hold big precision value. Okay, so as like long, after float, right, you need to put F. You need to put F. Otherwise, by default, it will consider as a double. So try to put F at the end, like long. Okay, now $1 in rupees will print here. Okay, and a dollar to gold. For $1, how much gold you will get? 0.0004 grams of gold you will get. Let me run this. Let me run this. Let me run this and see the result. $1 in rupees is 83 rupees. $1 gold in grams is, see, console is printing like this, but this is the actual result. 4.89 precisions minus 4, which means in turn it will become 0.00048,914. Okay, so this is float data types usage. So with this float data types also, can I do perform calculations? Let's say today dollar value decreased to 2 rupees. Can I put -2 here? Of course you can do. Of course you can do. If I do -2, what will happen? Dollar will become 81.15. So using float numbers also, you can put all arithmetic operations, minus, plus, into, divided by, all that you can perform. Okay, no worries. Using integer you can perform, using float also you can perform. Basically this data type is given for arithmetic calculations only, so don't bother about it, you can use it. Okay, we will see that in a next session, okay, about calculations and all. Okay, now see character data types. Okay, one character data type, one character data char can hold only one character. Let's say India, I want to store. How many characters I need? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 characters I need. So within 5 characters I can hold it. Within 5 characters only I can hold it. I am using system dot out dot print, not ln. Print ln means in next line it will print. Just using print, just to print India together. Okay, just to make India together, like people India together, right? India printing India INDIA in a line. But if you divide them with the line, right, then you go to the next line. Print ln method also available. So if I use println, it will take it to next India. This is how it will print. Yeah, of course we can make it stand, but if you want to keep it in a line, you can use print method instead of println method. Okay, character data type also covered, and we understand that this is going to take how many bytes? 2 bytes of memory. 2 bytes of memory it is going to consume. Why? Because not only English characters, we can put Hindi characters, Telugu characters also here. So as and when you require, right, you can put your Telugu characters or Hindi characters or Kannada, Malayalam, Tamil, Bengali, whatever character you want to store, you can put it comfortably, no issues. Okay. Now let me show you Boolean data type. Boolean will store either true or false, nothing else. Okay. Now I am going to show you here Boolean. Are you Indian? True. Citizen of India? True. Boolean. Living outside India? False. I am living in India only. Okay. So false. Either true or false I can able to put. Either true or false I can able to put. True or false. What is the use of true or false? Basically, while applying conditions, right? While applying conditions, they are very useful. Okay, basically where we can use it, mostly we will use it in control statements like if, switch, there we will use it widely. Okay, to apply conditions. So I'll show you one example here. If example I'm going to show you here, if are you Indian, if are you Indian, so I'm putting are you Indian variable here, which is having true. So if are you Indian is true, if it is true, then only inside this code will execute, if block code will execute. So I'll put here system.out.println. You can apply for Aadhaar card. You can apply for Aadhaar card. So let me run it and show you. It is showing you can apply for Aadhaar because are you Indian is true. Let's say if you are not a Indian, you are from United States. So you are not Indian. False. You are not Indian. Now if I run it, you can see you can apply Aadhaar not coming because you are not Indian. It is not going to show you here. Then what I can put as alternate, if that is not the case, I can use else block. Okay, more in detailed about if and else we'll discuss later. You are not Indian, so you can't get Aadhaar. Okay, it is making sense, right? Now run it and see. Just use run as a Java application. You can see you are not oh sorry, you are not Indian, so you can't get Aadhaar. You are not Indian, so you can't get Aadhaar. Run as Java application. You are not Indian, so you cannot get Aadhaar. So this if block is not executing because are you Indian is a false. Okay. So in such a conditional statements we will use widely Boolean values. In conditional statements we use widely Boolean values. I hope you enjoyed learning data types. You enjoyed learning data types, right? Thank you guys.